let's get into it. Now, I just want to say right at the beginning of this episode that I am deeply into the Rogan sphere, the Tom Segura, the Bert Kreischer, Brendan Shaw, Brian Callen, all of the guys, Schultz. If you guys want to see me cover some of that as well on this channel, let me know in the comment section. If it's something that you absolutely hate, let me know that as well. And if there is a person in the Rogan sphere that you would like me to start covering on this channel, let me know who that person is, because I watch all of the podcasts and I just figured I'd put that out. Now, let's get to it. Sold Not For Sale, Coach Colin here. This is exactly what Terrence Howard needed to hear from someone who's much smarter than him, because this is what, who knows how different the world would be if he heard what Eric Weinstein is about to say to him when he was in school learning this stuff. Because if you guys remember, Terrence Howard said, he turned to a professor or someone and said, "Oh, the math is off. Your math is off. I'm leaving," and just didn't continue school. Who knows how different Terrence Howard would be, how different the world might be if he just decided to stay in school and just learn what they had ready and willing to give him. Who knows? Listen to what Eric Weinstein says to him in this clip. This is exactly what he needs to hear. I hope Eric becomes his mentor, quite honestly. Let's get into it.
Is because there's a platonic form, which you're finding here. You're going to find helices over and over and over again, because you can't really have nature stop finding the structure. It doesn't belong to any instantiation of the system. And so everything is going to rhyme. Now, your big problem is that everything rhymes to you because you know a lot of stuff and you know a lot of similarities. Your brain's very good at that. And what your brain is not very good at is pruning the amount of rhymes that it sees.
Well, what I'm saying is this is defining all motion. We just define the motion behind a boat. We just define that other aspect. And remember, I was saying about the Huntian being a massless particle. It only exists as a result of these 4 to 8 tetrians pushing down because of pressure. The moment that these 8 tetrians disappear, that interior space, it's no longer there. Okay. The moment that disappears. So
I don't know how to stop you from doing this.
I hate doing that. Well, I hate you stopping me from doing what I'm not supposed to be doing.
No, I don't. I'm so far out over my skis. I promise you what the internet is going to say the next day about me is, ha, Eric Weinstein sees blah, blah, blah.
Don't read the internet. Stop reading the damn internet.
Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is you're taking all the good stuff that you're doing and you get into 19 and you're saying, hit me. And each time you do that, I want to slap you and say, don't do that. Because even if what you're saying is true, let's imagine that we find some structures like the ones you're talking about in wave fronts, right? I think what you're doing is totally canonical, and it's very, very natural. And I think you're building models, and you don't know how to do the algebra, probably, and you probably don't know how to do the differential equations, all that. Fine, I can point you to books, I can try to help you.
I'm a geometer. I like doing geometry. I would love to work with a mathematician that can define and redefine these spaces and write new axioms if there's real axioms to be made from it or postulates to be made from it. That's what I wanted to do with with Dr. Tyson.
Okay, but part of what you're doing is you're coming into another community. Like what you said about David Tong is so unfair to David Tong.
What did I say?
David Tong. Okay, first of all, do you know who David Tong is?
I know him on the internet. I know, but I've watched a few of his things. Okay. I was very impressed with it. That's why I reached out to him.
He's amazing. And I have my difference. He's an acquaintance of mine. I haven't seen him since 2011, okay? He's an amazing treasure because that guy has a gift for explanation in our community. And in a world where a lot of people in string theory have lost complete touch with reality, right? This guy knows every aspect of physics so well that he can explain it with razor-sharp clarity. So he's he's a national treasure of the UK.
And I reached out and I said to him, look, dude, you're talking about these 16 fields. I said, I have the models for your 16 fields, which was
in teaching.
Yeah.
That's okay. If you want to say, I don't understand this, you get a positive reaction from us. If you say, I have something and I'm not quite sure what it is, can I get an evaluation because I think I might have something? You should be able to get something from a guy like me.
And that's what I did. I went to Oxford.
I know.
Didn't get that.
But I'm trying to say something.
Okay.
Then you do this other thing, which is you teach. And your teaching is not good. You tell us stuff that's not true, that we can tell is not true. And then we say, okay, I can throw out the entire entirety of what he's saying.
What did I say that wasn't true though? That's what I'm. That's. I
Well,
mean,
1 times 1 is not equal to 2. Let's start there. In fact, I'm angry at Joe because Joe should have pushed back on that. Joe is in awe.
The calculator says 1 times 1 doesn't equal 1 because of that square root of 2
Can we pull
issue.
the portal group back up?
There's a lot of wild shit I don't push back on if I'm not sure what the fuck that person's saying.
I understand.
That's why. But also because I know that people are going to eventually
But
respond
Joe,
to it.
right now we've got a crisis where nobody knows what to believe in. Unfortunately for you,
I'm just saying
you were
here's
in a bad spot because you wanted to have fun. You had a show and it got really big. Okay?
That's why you're
I'm
here,
just
Big Daddy.
saying-
Okay, wait.
I'm saying people have.
Can we go to the Terrence product? Maybe below that. I think you're in the right place. Yeah.
Terrence.
Okay. Here's how we would do this in mathematics. Assume you were a colleague, right? And I wasn't trying to get rid of you and get you out of my office. I'd say, okay, no, I'm not.
I know you're
I'm
not.
not kidding.
I know you're interested and want to have further
Hold on,
conversation. So go.
Okay. Standard thing, what we would do is we say, okay, wait a second. I don't really buy your claim that 1 times 1 equals 2, but let's try to evaluate what you're saying. Then I'd create something called the Terrence times binary operation star sub t. And I'd say that provisionally, I define A star sub t times B to be equal to A times 1 plus B because your rule says that you should add A to itself B number of times. So that is the formula in standard mathematics for what you are introducing as times. Then I come up with the Terrence root of C equaling D if D Terrence producted with itself equals C. So now I have Terrence binary operation, Terrence root, and the Terrence square operation. And I say now, okay, now that's a totally legitimate object. Until you try to blow away times or multiplication in the normal sense, now what I've got is I've got a new operation and I want to know its properties. Is it commutative? No, A Terrence times B is not B Terrence times A. Those are 2 different numbers. Then I ask, is it associative? Yes, it's associative. So now I'm trying to make standard math out of the crazy ass shit that you say when you go to Oxford. And this is how I would start to understand it. I would say, Terrence, do we get anything new out of Terrence times Terrence root Terrence square? And I would therefore not incur the penalty that you're incurring. The penalty that you're incurring is when the rest of us work our effing asses off. And you come in and you say, I've developed, like, imagine if I got on this program and I said, is John Jones out there? He's a huge pussy. He doesn't know how to fight. I have a one-touch technique. And if I lay a pinky on John Jones, you're going to see a quivering little pat of butter. Sean Strickland has no disciplines. The guy's a big fatty. It's not going to go well.
No.
Okay. So what I'm trying to get at is, that's what you're doing to us.
I didn't mean to. That's not what I meant to do. But in me saying 1 times 1 equals 2, like I said, that's a metaphor that there's something very wrong with the math because math should
There's
not be done.
nothing wrong with the math.
I'm saying the math that we are doing is still based on linear projections, even though we are in a multi-dimensional space. And if the square root of 2 didn't have that problem,
listen to me very carefully. Assume you have the most beautiful curved linear object.
my wife.
Yeah. Can we do a form? I don't want to talk about. I don't want my words about. I saw what happened to Will Smith. I want to keep your wife's name out of my mouth.
Man, Eric is very, very nice. You know, I have gone on record saying, I think it was his last appearance on JRE. I was like, this guy is so boring. I was just like, he's so boring. But in this setting, he is very cool. He's funny. He is being a good mentor. He's not being dismissive. He's being a gentleman. He is holding ground with Joe and, you know, not letting Joe just push him around. He's not letting Terrence push him around. Like, I like this guy. I like him a lot. Amazing, man. And that's exactly the stuff that Terrence needs to hear, that you are not the teacher when you even, I don't like Neil deGrasse Tyson. But you're not the teacher when you go to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Because when he was first on Joe Rogan's podcast, he said, oh, I wanted to start it off with Neil deGrasse Tyson by saying, let's just get some things clear. Your math is a little off, so let me just teach you about math quickly. You don't get to do that with Neil deGrasse Tyson, okay? Even though Neil deGrasse Tyson's all about weird gender fluidity stuff and things of that nature now, you don't get to do that with Neil deGrasse Tyson. You don't get to do that with Eric Weinstein. You don't get to step into that arena so quickly. And that analogy that he used was perfect. It's literally like me getting on JRE and then trying to explain some stuff and trying to teach Jamie some stuff and teach Joe some stuff about conversation. No, No, no. I get to learn stuff if I ever get to be in the same room as Joe. That's it. I sit back and I learn. Sponge mode, 100%. Same with Jamie. Like, that's just how it should be, you know? So I love that he has put that into Terrence's head. I hope Terrence actually moves forward with that way of thinking, because it's been way too cocky for way too long. And you have a mathematician right here who is saying, you're wrong. Your math is wrong. He even just he made a whole equation breaking down, like, he is wrong about so many things. But now we're finding out from Eric Weinstein, but there's a few things that could be right and could be really cool and interesting. That's amazing, because who knows, just that little nudge of being like, hey, you're not teaching us anything. You know, you have some things that are good. That could take Terrence into a whole incredible path right now. Who knows? 10 years from now, this can turn into something incredible. And who knows, once he starts learning the proper math and he starts embracing that, who knows what ideas he'll come up with. He might come up with something way better, because all of a sudden now he's actually following proper math and he's not stuck in the 1920s. And the reason I'm saying that is because Eric Weinstein actually talks about, I believe it's the 1920s. He talks about the fact that a lot of what he's following in terms of, I think it was the periodical table, things of that nature, they're stuck in time. And he's like, you should really come to where we are now, because you'd be working in the presence of, you know, everything that's been discovered, right? It's like if I was doing podcasting with knowledge from the 1920s, I'd be like, all right, everybody, a dee 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 dee, a dee 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 dee, ha ha. And there'd be no camera, because I'd be like, it's the 1920s. You know what I mean? Very interesting stuff, man. I like this conversation a lot. I really didn't think I'd like it. When I first saw it, I thought it was just going to be Terrence Howard disrespecting somebody who's as intelligent as Eric Weinstein, but Eric has been able to keep him in line, and Terrence seems like he's really eager to learn. So really cool episode. Definitely check it out. I'm on I just got through my second listen. I might listen to it again. I might give it one more listen just to listen to it, not as somebody who's a podcaster, just someone who's a listener. Might just listen to it on regular speed. Haven't done that in a while. But anyways, guys, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, helps the channel tremendously. And other than that, I'm out.